Hello and welcome to this video presentation about the first Viper Owners Invitational. It's not really a documentary in the formal sense, but we hope it brings back some fond memories of the event, what it was like, and what it means to be a Viper owner. On behalf of everyone at the Dodge Division and Team Viper, I'd like to thank everyone who attended. We were all stunned at the turnout, a total in excess of 800 people, and over 200 Vipers from as far away as New York, California, and Washington. We're glad we had the opportunity to show you our technology center, take you on a tour through the Numac assembly plant, and introduce you to the people that assembled your Viper. It was also great that you could be part of the last IROC race of the season, where those who brought their Viper were able to parade around the high bank of Michigan International Speedway in front of 65,000 people. Now that it's over, well, all I can say is that it was an incredible weekend, one that we will remember for a long time. So without further delay, let's take a look at the magic time together.
One of the other unique things about driving the car, I've had a lot of performance cars, Porsches and several Jaguars and a Lotus Esprit Turbo, my most recent flagship. The reactions you get on the road from people, when you're driving a foreign exotic, when somebody gives you a thumbs up in the Viper, there's about a 25% chance it'll be a different digit they're raising at you if you're in a Lotus or a Porsche. And I had that happen to me lots of times over the years. And I have never had anything but the way to go, American car, thumbs up, double thumbs up.
Driving it and having the smile on your face from ear to ear as you drive it and you enjoy it, and people come up to you and just give you the thumbs up, and they're just so excited to see that it's an American car and that it's something way out of the ordinary.
They want to get in it. They want to know, how fast does it go? How fast have you driven it? My kids think I'm a hero. I've got a 23-year-old son. I mean, he's living in California now. He came home over the 4th of July. Trust me, I know he came home to see the car more than he came home to see my mother and me. I couldn't get him out of it. So my daughter was home recently. I mean, just everybody wants to be in it. And it's not just kids. I mean, people want to experience it, and I think it takes you back to the memories you had when you were a kid and what you dreamed driving would be and what driving used to sort of be with muscle cars. But then
So did you guys drive it? You must have drove in from New York?
Yeah, about 10 hours. Old ladies, young kids, and gorgeous women want to get a ride in this thing. It just draws a lot of attention. It really does. We pulled to a rest area, and we pulled them up nose to tail. And I mean, we had a crowd. We had an absolute crowd. And they actually want to see the engine, and they pop the engine. I mean, it just, this car is a great PR. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We had a good time coming. We had walkie-talkies, so we're communicating back and forth the whole trip. And you drive by people, they wave, they blow their horn, and, great.
It's a heck of a lot of fun. We're actually up here on our first wedding anniversary, so it's exciting weekend.
So what did people say when you told them you're spending your anniversary?
They laughed.
Like, yeah. No, it was that or the Caribbean. So.
Yeah. And so, hey, Caribbean, Detroit.
We crossed the Canadian border just north Niagara Falls, and as soon as we got across the border into Canada, a thunderstorm hit, and a relatively new Corvette wiped out right in front of us and just blew in pieces. Fiberglass all over the roads, and we managed to get around that whole mess and get here in one piece.
Well, we had made arrangements to get to trailer it out behind a pickup truck. We found a trailer to take it from Ohio back to California, but in California we couldn't get a trailer to bring it out here, and the one that I did find was from U-Haul, and I think the width on that was about 77 inches, and we needed 79 with the exhaust protruding out. So we weren't able to bring it, and it's very disappointing to see all these and not be part of it.
Brentwood, California. I drove it when I pulled into a little town, I think it was Two Rocks, Wyoming, on the second night. And I pulled into the Motel 6. I was in the hotel, and I looked out in the parking lot, and here come the farm boys in the pickups with the whole family. So I had probably about 30 or 40 people all around the car, and they just were so excited about the car. They had never seen one. And as people started to leave, the two little teenage boys came over and they said, "We'll make you a deal. We'll sleep with the car if you take us for a ride." So they sent their dad home in the pickup, back to the farm, I guess, got the sleeping bags, and they spent all night on the lawn in sleeping bags waiting for the next morning to get a ride. And they said it was worth it.
Lots of folks come to the school with Vipers, and what shocks me is here at this Viper party, if you will, I think half the people in this room have been to our school. And it's neat, and people of all ages, and people who love good cars.
Has a pretty little flower bed of white gardenias. But parked in a rickety old garage is a brand new shiny red super stock Dodge.
Well, my name is Jean Randall, and I'm from Liberal, Kansas, and I drove up in my Viper.
The whole thing is unbelievable. It's like a dream. These people are so enthusiastic. I've never, ever seen customers so enthusiastic about a product in any category.
It's interesting that all of them are thankful. Everybody come, many people have come to me or to us and say, we thank you. They just want to thank us for having done the car, and then it feels good too.
I have never seen such a cross section. I mean, you talk cultural diversity and gender diversity and socioeconomic diversity. It is the most diverse group of people I've ever seen. It cuts across race, gender, age, physical size, income level. It's absolutely amazing, and yet they are united in this almost fanatical love for this product.
Deep down, we always wanted to do something with the owners. We just wanted to make sure that the timing was right. I will tell you candidly, we never expected the turnout that we got. We thought that maybe we'd get 150 owners. We never thought we'd get 370 owners, about 800 people, including their guests, 210 cars that have driven here as far away as Washington and California, and we're having as much fun as the owners.
What's that? I waited 3 years for this car.
Was it worth the wait?
Oh, yeah. I ordered this car in 91, August 91, and got December of 93. So I've been real anxious to get it, and I've had Corvettes, but this exceeds the Corvettes. I've got a ZR1. This impresses me a lot more.
I think some people really were thinking, why would I buy a car like that? And then other people were saying, how did you get on the list to get that? Well, they didn't know that I ordered it about a year and a half in advance, and I really was interested in the car and followed it in the magazines way before that they were ever close to being produced. So it worked out really well with that.
I had some Chrysler stock, and I got the annual report, and they had the Viper in there, and I said, that's the car I want. So I told my family about it, my grandsons, and they said, you do not need a muscle car. And I said, yes, I do. I want that car.
The very first day that I got it, I drove down to a famous donut shop in Huntington Beach on Magnolia and Adams. I drove in there. It was the first Viper anyone had ever seen, first one I'd ever seen, and I bought it. And I must have opened the hood, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 35 times.
Well, the first day I had it, I did a 360, and I didn't even know that I had done any of that. And I was sitting I turned a corner at a high speed, hit it hard. I was sitting on the grass on the left-hand side, facing the same direction I was started, and never for 1 second knew what I had done. So I had a great respect for the car, so thank God it was the first day I had it, so I knew how to be careful from that day on.
So I was in first gear and going 55, eased it into second, going 60. Just thought, wow, it's open here, just give a little bit of gas. Of course, it went right down to the floor. The whole car started going sideways and smoking the tires, and all you can see is the smoke coming out of the side view mirrors. I'm thinking, yeah, I think this is a little bit faster of a car than I'm used to. So it definitely gave me a new respect for the car.
Well, it's difficult if you use the power. Any car with that kind of power would be. It's forgiving, but this performance level is so high that if you want to, if you get into that area, you got to be good. It is not dangerous. It's predictable. I think it's a tremendously safe car, but it's got big capabilities.
I sold 3 cars to buy this car. I sold a Lotus Esprit Turbo, a GMC Cyclone, the fastest production U.S. vehicle, and a Super Sport Camaro from 72, a muscle car. So I got rid of 3 cars to get this one. So I was pretty dedicated to getting that one with making 3 slots for it in my garage.
I think the most exciting part of the car is the acceleration. It's just an awesome acceleration that doesn't ever really quit. You shift out of the gear probably before you really redline it. It's just an amazing acceleration. So I don't know what the top end is, but it's more of a sports car that handles well and accelerates awesome.
I don't know if you picked the word on purpose, but it's like a classic car. It's a basic, great power to weight ratio, simple car, not over gimmicked, not doing everything for you. I like it because you can drive it. I don't like cars that kind of outthink me. I actually like the fact that it doesn't have ABS. And I love the power to weight ratio, or the power to traction ratio, if you will.
But really tonight, I feel good to see that we are not alone and sharing the same values and the same enthusiasm for that type of a car. So it feels good.
I thought it was great, and it was an opportunity to see a car put together on an assembly line basis without robots and things like that, and all the people that were involved in it. And it was something that I'd never seen before, where a car is already painted and you put it together. So I thought that was remarkable.
It was much smaller than I expected. I thought the factory would be a lot bigger than that. So the cars are definitely hand-built, there's no doubt about it, and the people seem to have a lot of pride in what they do.
A few of the tips of putting on the top and the side windows, you're so afraid of scratching the car or doing something, forcing it against its design, that it was really helpful to talk with them.
Yeah, I conducted a lot of the tours. I'm a team leader there, me and the 3 other guys. There's 4 of us, and we took them through, and one after another. It was great, though.
What kind of things were they saying?
Asking a lot of questions, and they're all car enthusiasts. They love the car, great job, and they were just like kids in a candy store. They were great.
The team people, a real highlight of my trip, the team people were interested very much in the fact I've got 200 racetrack miles on my car, 100 laps at PIR over 4 racing events, and they wanted to know about how, they're very dedicated. They want to know how the car performed. Did the exhaust pipes heat up? Did they get very uncomfortable? Did the car overheat? How was the oil pressure? They wanted to know a lot of technical questions. When you meet people on the street, first thing they ask you is how much is it or how fast did it go? But the Team Viper people who built it, they wanted to know how their element performed. The guy that put
Well, I've always wanted to see that ever since they advertised it on TV, so this gives us a chance, and I thought it was terrific. It's good to see where they can pull all the people's heads together and all work together. That's what it's all about.
I think they got a good idea of what they're doing, bringing everything under one roof right there, save time, money, and get things out quicker. I think they got a good idea there.
I love the CTC. I wish I could have seen behind the closed doors, though, down in the bottom. You know, seen those new minivans. I'm real curious.
It came in this nice shiny red primer. We hit it with 400, and we actually painted the car completely together. The only thing we removed were the front and rear valence. We left the hood on, the doors on, the rear deck on, and all the interior in the car. You just pulled everything back just a little bit. and you don't detect any red on the car at all. I've got about 7,000 miles on it now, and other than a couple of little stone bruises, you still can't tell the car was painted.
Hennessy Motorsports out of Houston puts in an engine modification. It actually puts another cam in it and does some exhaust work, so it increases the horsepower from the 400 horsepower stock to about 550 horsepower. So it makes quite a difference. The big difference is it goes from the stock Viper goes 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. With the Hennessy Viper, it goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. So it takes a full 1 second off.
Tell us about the white stripes.
White stripes? Well, I saw them in a magazine, and I had a little model. I put them on the model first, see if I liked them, and I wanted to put flames on it too, but I just haven't quite got the nerve. I figured stripes was about the limit on these cars, but someday, maybe next year, I'll be back with flames on the side.
The ability to see that many of the vehicles together and have a little bit of a feel for the way people are using their vehicles, the way they have equipped their vehicles, the things that they were interested in, even modifying. Those are the kinds of things that I'm watching. They're of great interest.
This doesn't your outfit. She planned it that way. Yes. I think I got
I'm Marty Levine. I'm the general manager of the Dodge division. It's certainly a great pleasure for me to participate in what we think is a very historic event, to share the excitement with our Viper owners and their guests. And I heard a nasty rumor as I was walking in. There's a rumor going around that this event is just a copy of the homecoming held by some company called Saturn in Spring Hill, Tennessee last month. Well, I got to tell you, there's no truth to that rumor. It wouldn't dare rain on a Viper event. At Dodge, we are not into copies. We only do originals, as in Dodge Viper. Our speaker this evening is also an original. He is Bob Lutz, President and Chief Operating Officer of Chrysler Corporation, and it's going to be my pleasure to introduce him.
I understand there are Viper owners from all over the country here, close to 400 plus family and friends, so it is a huge pleasure for me to welcome you here, and I really enjoyed talking with a lot of you before dinner. As Marty said, it's the first Viper National Invitational, which makes it an historic event. And that's exciting because a lot of us years from now are going to be able to say, I was there back when. And hopefully we'll do a lot more of these in the years to come. For too long, a lot of us have thought that the American car business led with left brain thinking. The left brain, as you know, is the rational, analytical side of the brain, and that's the side of the brain that told us that it was completely illogical and ridiculous to build a $55,000 two-seat sports car with no door handles, no real top, no windows, a big luxury tax, no factory air, no automatic, no outside door handles, and hardly any room for luggage, and all that under the Dodge brand. On the other hand, many people told me the Dodge brand can't sell a $20,000 vehicle. It's hopeless to try to put a $55,000 vehicle through that franchise. But on the other hand, we didn't listen to the left brain. The Viper is really an example of right brain thinking. Then the right brain, the right half of your brain is where creativity and emotions live. We gave in to the right side of our heads when the Viper's name came calling. The results gave us the courage to listen to and act upon our passion for cars. The Viper is such a radical departure from business as usual that many people were amazed when they found out that an American car company had invented it. In fact, I wish I had $1 for every time I heard somebody utter the phrase, "That's a Dodge?" And it was, "Yes, Virginia." The answer always was, "Yes, Virginia, that is a Dodge Viper." By the way, speaking of other fathers of the Dodge Viper, Carroll Shelby regrettably couldn't make it. Tom Gale was supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately his wife Chucky had to go in for surgery. And Tom, much as we love the Viper, hopefully we all love our wives more. At least Tom Gale does. I do too, by the way. As a quick save. But we do have one of the other fathers of the Viper here tonight, and that's Francois Costin, Vice President of Vehicle Engineering. Would you please stand? Francois is a brilliant engineer, a former leader of the Renault Formula One racing team, who has taught all of us at Chrysler invaluable lessons about teamwork and about how to successfully bring ideas to reality and fast. I've often been asked, how did you guys come up with the idea for the Viper? Well, a few years ago, I was blasting around the hills and curves of southeast lower Michigan out near the Waterloo Recreation Area in my Mark IV Autocraft Cobra. And it was on a Sunday afternoon, and I was driving around, and I often get some of my most inspired ideas when I'm driving fast on good roads. And I thought of Carroll Shelby's words that he spoke to me every time we had lunch together at Chrysler. He would say, what this company needs is a real, no-nonsense, back-to-basics, high-performance driving machine, a Cobra for the 90s. So the two things as I was driving, I thought, boy, we have the components to do this car, and if Brian Anglis of Autocraft in England can start producing these Mark IV Autocrafts with almost no investment, why can't we? So Francois Costin, Tom Gale, and I had a little conversation, and we decided to do the show car, and Francois was able to liberate an early prototype cast iron V10 engine from the Ram pickup, and got us a transmission and some other running gear. And we decided that that's what the car would do. It would showcase the new V10. And it would, in a time of increasing government regulation, strike a sort of an emotional blow for freedom, for the freedom that great high-performance cars represent. It would, that's very important. Also, more importantly, it would strike a blow at the increasingly sophisticated Japanese sports cars with all their little valves and all their little camshafts, valves, turbos. Intercoolers, four-wheel steer, four-wheel drive, ABS, adjustable suspensions, you name it. Cars that are so wonderful, so slick, so refined, so silent, you might as well be sitting at home in your lazy boy recliner watching a videotape of the road unwinding in front of you. So we did it. We displayed this concept car in the 1989 Auto Show in Detroit, and it absolutely stole the show. The response from the public and the news media, I don't have to tell you about it. To tell you the truth, we weren't surprised that we heard from people like you. We were just overwhelmed that there were so many people out there that felt exactly the same way we did. It was the subject of many automobile magazine covers. People were sending in letters with checks in them. More than 5,000 people wrote us about the car. I'll just quote from one letter to give you a flavor of the passion that this vehicle aroused. On my hands and knees, I pray to you, O God of Chrysler. Viper, Viper, send us the Viper. The Viper is for enthusiasts who are looking for an intense driving experience, period. No holds barred, and no whining allowed if the rain's coming you can't get the top on in time. .400 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 100 to 0 in 14.3 seconds. Put another way, this is a car for a guy with a middle-aged body and income, but the brain of an 18-year-old. Takes one to know one, right? I'll close my remarks with a poem that I wrote a couple of years ago for a Dodge dealers meeting. Viper is the perfect toy for grown-up people to enjoy. Viper's there for wind in hair, for those whom big blocks do not scare, for those who love the lure of speed, but traffic laws do usually heed, for those who like a manual tranny and passengers who don't look like Granny. But I know there's one 72-year-old female owner here tonight. So I'd like to apologize for that verse in my poem, except to say you still don't look like Granny, so we're still okay. But Viper's not for timid soul who like to play more passive roles. So if your hobby's hugging trees, don't consider this one, please. Viper salesman, please take note of Chairman Lee's immortal quote, "If Viper doesn't turn your head, check your pulse, you may be dead." Now I got to tell you, when I wrote that, what was called Ode to the Viper, I was sitting in my room and I got around to the third beverage, and by the time I got to the third one, I thought, oh, what the hell, I'll write a few more. And the additional ones I probably can't recite because this is a family gathering, but you like the first one so much, I'll go ahead and do them anyway. I'll go into it gently. Now, other sports cars are on sale, but theirs won't be a happy tale. Mazda's Miata may be cute, but Viper is a nasty brute. Porsche may have lots of class, but Viper's made for hauling at most 2 people and a little bit of luggage. And finally, 300ZX is made by Nissan, which Viper owners will gladly pit their cars against. And with that, like all great poets, I bid you a fond adieu.
Clearly last night, going to the Dodge Mansion and hearing Bob Lutz talk, which was from the heart, and I don't know if Bob ever had the chance to talk to so many people that think so much like him at the same time. And the common denominator was love for cars and clearly the love for the Viper.
Yeah, the dinner was excellent. I had a nice talk with Mr. Lutz and Mr. Levine, and I was impressed that the people at Chrysler are accessible. You know, you can walk up and talk to them, and they're not some ivory tower type of guys, and which was very nice.
I was stopped in outside of Winnemucca, Nevada, and they clocked me at 105.
What was the ticket for?
Nothing. They let me walk.
Got stopped once, but the copper couldn't put the gun up fast enough to see. When he stopped the car, he says, "Now, really, how fast do you think you were going?" We were doing about 80, and I said, about 55, officer." And I knew as soon as he asked me about how fast I thought I was going, it happened so fast he just heard this huge roar, and then as soon as I went past him, he flipped his lights on, and I knew it was going to be a problem. But it was a few days before my birthday, and he had let me go. He says, "Well, it's a birthday present," but I'm sure he couldn't get the gun up. Surprised him, he was sitting on the curve.
I live in Crystal Lake, and I just happened to be going through town just a little bit too quick, and they pulled me over, and the car it was like 2 weeks old, fictitious plates on the car, I had no driver's license on me, no vehicle registration, and no insurance card. And when I left, he was calling me Mr. Snelton. It was wonderful.
This is a chance of a lifetime. I mean, just to see what was great was when we first started from the hotel, the line of these cars just was so impressive. It was unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable.
And to come up here in the caravan this morning early, that was fantastic. It was just unreal. To come up here with 240 Vipers, it was just outstanding.
It was fun, you know, to see all these Vipers. I mean, like myself, I had never seen a Viper run. I moved down the road. So I'm looking at other people's Vipers like I've never seen one before because I've never seen one driving down the street. So that was a lot of fun to see that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, seeing all those cars, especially when 100 or so went off course and all realized at the same time they had taken the wrong turn and did a synchronized three-point turn test in the middle of the highway. Just 100 cars going like that and turning around, so it's quite amazing.
The other part that I really enjoyed was on the drive out with the owners. We left the Marriott Hotel and went down 696, but finally we got off. Well, I was with a group that got lost. That's what happened. And we got lost about 50 miles worth of being lost. And we'd go out, we're in these roads, 9 o'clock in the morning, and women came out in their nightgowns, and little kids came out with sleep in their eyes, and people came out waving flags. And I mean, they heard this procession of cars coming down. People were giving us thumbs up. It was terrific. I loved it.
We had 17,000 employees in the stands when the cars went around. They were standing up and cheering, which to me said they were proud of Viper, and that's Viper is a symbol of change at Dodge. It's a real symbol to be proud of for everybody that works for the corporation, and the owners are proud of the car, and that's great. And I don't know if you saw all the American flags the people were carrying with them, and it then dawned on me that this is also something that America's proud of. It's great.
That was incredible. 3 cars abreast for half the track.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible.
Better than half the track, it seemed like to me. It seemed like it was never ending. It just kept on coming and coming.
It was great. Would have been nice to have a little bit more room, but it was a lot of fun. It was great to be here.
Thrill of my lifetime right there. We got, originally when they lined the cars up, we were stuck on the highest part of the banking right there in the center lane, like nothing I've ever experienced in my life. It was great, great. I'd love to do it again.
We almost fell off the banking on that curve. It's pretty steep out there. I needed to be doing about 140 to stay up on it tight like you should be. But they wouldn't let us do that. We had to stay in line. I don't understand that.
To see so many in one place, the only place you ever see that is a plant. To see them going down the track today was unreal.
There were more cars at that track today than what we carry as any sort of inventory in our plant.
I thought it was worth the trip to drive all the way from California. I wish we could have done a little more speed on it, but it was pretty impressive.
to see that many of them together.
For my personal biggest thrill was I had an opportunity to drive the pace lap and lead it around with Bob Eaton and Tom Gale. And I got to tell you, driving that car in front of 65,000 people on a speedway, the only problem was you want to stomp on it and they wouldn't let us go over 50 miles an hour. So that was terrific.
It was Vipers from end to end.
Yeah, we were towards the front of the pack, and when we got around to where the end of the pack was coming on, it was literally the whole 2 mile or so track surface, three abreast. Amazing.
I drive it every day. That's the most unique thing. People look at it and they go, oh, you got 1,200 miles. I say, no, that's 12,000 miles. They look again. So I've had it 10 months. I've got 12,000 miles on it. I live in Oregon, a rainy state, so it's unusual.
I've been kind of careful with it. The most miles I put on it has been for this event. I just turned 1,000 miles and we put on about 250 miles since we've been here. Pardon?
Say it's worth
Absolutely.
I mean, this one we bought as a project car for Mopar Muscle Magazine, and basically we've been racing it in SCCA racing since we bought it, and doing pretty good. We're number 2 in the points at the moment, and just having fun.
How is the Viper as a race car?
Pretty good. It's a good analogy would be if you were ever a surfer. When you start out with a really long board, and when you get good, you can surf on a really short board. This is a really short board. You have to know what you're doing. And by the time I figure out how to drive it, it'll be eligible for vintage racing. This is the first car we got when we were married, and my parents always regretted selling their first car, a 55 Buick Special. They've been looking for one ever since, and they just were married for 40 years in July, so we're keeping this one for another 40 years or so.
Yeah. We're from Grand Rapids. There are about 4 in town. Every time I see another car in town, I think to myself, my God, Peggy's got my car out again. I'm going to kill her when I get home.
That's the truth.
Yeah. No, we love it. We've got 800 miles on it. Loving every second of it. We hope they have another show next year.
A friend took a photo of me coming off of turn 9 at PIR and had it made into an airbrush tie. And because I teased with another friend in Portland that has a black one, I tell him that red Vipers are faster than black ones. She put me ahead of the black Viper on the racetrack coming off the track. So,
at the beginning, when the Dodge Viper was first shown at auto shows, people would come up to it and say, "Oh, what's that?" And then they'd say, "What? That's a Dodge?" I mean, it has made a complete turnaround. Now people sort of say, "Yeah, that's a Dodge," because Dodge is doing some pretty good things. Viper sort of led the way.
A lot of people said that when we did Viper, Dodge Viper was an oxymoron. I don't think that's the case anymore. So many things have changed at Dodge. Virtually everything on the car side has changed. Clearly the Ram pickup is the Viper of pickups, if you will, and the new Dodge is more credible than ever.
My faith in Chrysler is restored with this car, no doubt.
Up until the Viper, I never owned a Chrysler product, and I probably never would have. And since I got involved in the Viper, I waited. I put a deposit on it 2.5 years before the car came out, and I waited and waited, and I kept following it, and I started buying Chrysler stock. And since I bought the Viper and have been so enthused about it, I have got a Dodge Ram on order. I bought a Jeep Cherokee, and my wife's waiting for a Dodge Avenger. So, and then as soon as the Prowler and the GTS come out, I'm going to have one of those. So I'm kind of hooked on Chrysler. They did a great job, and everybody at the factory deserves a big thank you.
There's a level of enthusiasm that I have never seen in any group of people before, and what was very heartening to me, I must have had at least 10 people last night say to me, I had never considered Chrysler, I hated Chrysler products, I was a Chevy man, but I had to have the Viper, and I was so pleased with it, and I got such good service from my dealer that now I've bought a Ram pickup, and my sister's got an Intrepid, and so forth, and that really showed me that it is possible to use a product like a Viper to drive a wedge into people's minds and get the rest of your products considered.
Chad loves driving the Viper. Yeah. His first ride was early in spring. He actually had the roof on, so he had the pleasure of seeing it with the roof on. And then he fell asleep in the front seat, so when I got home, I ended up taking the top off. And then he just looks up and he couldn't believe this car doesn't have a top on it now. So it was his first experience with the roadster type style. Worked out real well. Right, Chad? And it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm still in a good mood because all these Vipers were around.
You got to teach them early. I learned to drive when I was 10 years old. My father taught me, and I do the same thing with my kids. So that when they do, not that they're going to be a Davey Ellison or a Richard Petty, but at least they'll be able to handle the people around them. And when she starts taking the Viper to college, she'll know how to handle it. She won't have 5 boys in the car, she'll only have 1.
Well, Claire, do you want to say anything about the Viper? Tell them which one is your favorite.
This green.
Green, but tell them how many Vipers you have.
2.
And tell them what colors they are.
I have 1 green one in the city, 1 red one in Malibu.
And when we go to school, what's your favorite car to go to school in?
The Viper.
Which one?
The Viper.
Which color?
Red.
Well, obviously there's an awful lot of continuous improvement that's going on with the vehicle itself, and I see it just in driving later model vehicles, all of the little things that we really wanted to do. The team has just done an outstanding job, and I can't say enough about Viper team. Their enthusiasm, their willingness to support some of the things that the design staff has wanted to do right from the beginning. The honesty to the concept has just been phenomenal. Very few times do you see from concept to production the kind of integrity that this vehicle has. It's just overwhelming. And of course, another generation of Viper and keeping the Viper mystique alive is expressed in the coupe, where we've got essentially a mentality of a racer. It's a vehicle that very much draws its inspiration on the Cobra Daytona and then even a little bit of the 250 GTO. And all of that was very deliberate, much like the original Viper reminisced Cobra, and yet it's very contemporary in its expression. When you see the vehicle, when you see the proportion, when you see what's happened with roof, the glass planes, the details of the vehicle, it's very much its own statement, and that's something that is absolutely critical to us, and it's very critical to the Viper name now.
Well, the Viper. Let's talk about what we're not going to do. We're not going to change the body. We will continue working in an evolutionary way on engine performance, handling, weight reduction, and so forth. And of course, in about 15 months' time, we'll be launching the GTS Coupe with higher horsepower, dual airbags, full MVSS 208 compliant interior. So as I see it, the Viper and the Coupe in that family of 2 cars will be built for years and years and years at low volume. We're never ever going to build too many of them, because I always say my horror vision is a Dodge dealer with 5 Vipers in the front row with numbers and dollar signs painted in the windshield, and I never want to see that happen. But at modest volume, the car will just continue year after year, and it'll get better and better.
Awesome, gorgeous.
And fast.
Right. Thanks.
Completely and totally awesome.
Damn fine car.
I'd say fast, sexy, and outrageous.
I'm Viperized.
I can do it in one. Awesome.
I could do it in one word: exhilarating.
A heck of a car. Heck of us, one word.
I thought I liked my car. I didn't know everybody likes theirs just as much as I like mine. And they enjoyed being together. Everybody asked, "You going to do it again?" And the answer's got to be yes. I mean, hell, if I have to just do it for myself and a couple of friends, I want to do it again.
No, the comment was just that we enjoyed ourselves, had a real good time. Had to be here to believe it, that's right.
We had a great time. It was really a great affair. In fact, we've never been to anything like this.
And, it was really nice to be able to meet some of them that I had corresponded with letters. So it was really a moving experience for those of us who were involved up front in the process. It's really nice to see and have that feedback.
This is one of the greatest weekends I've ever spent. I mean, the people from Dodge and Chrysler have been amazing. I mean, I've really loved it. It was great to meet a lot of the other owners, and I haven't met anyone who isn't like 125% happy with everything. It's just been great.
Whoever put this on, thanks a lot. This is a great time.
Something you come back to?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think everybody I've talked to is saying the same thing. That can't wait for 2, 3, 4, and 5, no matter where they are in the country.
Fantastic. This is one of the greatest things I've ever did. I've been to Corvettes and Mopards and Fords and everything, but this is the greatest thing I've ever did. Chrysler really got their things together on this, and for the first Invitational, this was outstanding. This is a happening. That's what it is. I don't think they could duplicate this. I really don't. What do you do for an encore? Look at this. I mean, what do you do for an encore?
I will tell you, there definitely will be more of these. We're thinking of original ideas. We want the owners to experience their car, experience the camaraderie of their fellow owners, the camaraderie of those at the factory that love what we're doing and love cars and share that same desire to enjoy automobiles as the owners, and try to make it geographically friendly. So we got some ideas, and we're asking the owners to participate in what ideas they might have. So we don't want to say that this is going to be an annual event, but I will tell you this will not be the first and only Viper Invitational.
Well, as you can see, it was a lot of fun shared by all. The special part for me was the opportunity to personally meet many of the owners that we talked with over the past few years. We look forward to seeing you again. It was an incredible time together, one that we will remember for a long time. From all of us at Dodge and Team Viper, see you next time.